Okay, so the trifecta of building horsepower. Now, I didn't come up with this. There's a guy at Engineering Explained. If you go to him, a lot of car explanation stuff. And one of his coolest video series is how horsepower is made and how you make horsepower. The trifecta. Now, he doesn't call it the trifecta, but I do because I know who I'm talking to. First of all, cram more fuel and air into the combustion chamber. That's going to make a bigger explosion. It's going to drive the piston down harder. It's going to make more power. Okay. The second thing, turn higher RPM. It's just math. If you make the engine spin faster, you're going to have more power strokes in the same given span of time. And just based on a whole bunch of laws of mathematics, it's going to, if you double your RPM, you'll double your horsepower, period. 3, make a more efficient engine, okay? In other words, if you use lighter components, lighter yet stronger, billeted components inside the engine has to spend less energy keeping itself going, and so that'll transmit more power to the propeller. Third thing, another way to do it is increase the compression. Higher compression means whatever fuel is in the cylinder is going to get burned more completely, right? And you're magnifying the explosive effects. All right? This is why atomic bombs can blow up whole cities and why sniper rifles can fire off rounds at beyond the speed of sound or whatever. If you take a firecracker, and do not do this, I'm speaking hypothetically. If you take a firecracker and put it in your hand, you might get some surface burns, but that's about it. You take that same firecracker and just put it in your hand, you're going to cause a lot more damage, right? You take that same firecracker and close your whole fist around it, you can kiss your hand goodbye. The tighter you contain the explosion, the more effective the explosion is. Okay? So, the way you do this is one or two ways. You can come in through the bottom half and put a longer connecting rod in, right? So the connecting rod is lighter. It's going to reduce the inertial effects. You're going to get more horsepower. And if you can get one that's longer, even something that's 10,000ths of an inch longer, that's going to compress that air into a smaller space and therefore create more power. Bigger explosion drives the piston down harder, more horsepower. And the other way to do it is to do it from the top end of the motor, which is what I'm doing. You get a cylinder head that has a smaller combustion chamber, and it'll do exactly the same thing. Now, some people will take a cylinder head and mill off the face of it, shave it down 0.5 of an inch or something, and they can do it that way. Or you can do a combination of all those things, and that's how you can increase compression ratio. So with this build, how is the horsepower really made? Now, first of all, this trifecta build is for people who are serious about building horsepower. You're wanting to crack open the case and rebuild the whole motor with go-fast parts. Rebuild like I recently showed you. This is not for someone who's just now getting into it, who just wants, to increase, airflow and exhaust and rejet the carb. I mean, that's a great way to start. That's how I started, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you really want to generate power, if you can get 1 or 2 horsepower, if you can get 2 horsepower on all three of those, you just double the horsepower of the engine. 6.5 horsepower engine plus 2 horsepower by increasing the airflow in the engine, 2 more horsepower by running higher RPM, and 2 more horsepower by increasing the compression. That's like 6.5 horsepower engine is all of a sudden looking like a 12.5 horsepower engine. That ain't bad. What I have in the description below is a list, sort of a budget build, a mid-level build, and then a high-level build based on that. So on a low-budget build, what you could do is go ahead and do your standard exhaust header, rejet the carburetor, and put your velocity stack and a high-flow intake. That's going to get more air and fuel into the engine. It's going to make more power. The second thing I would do would be get the billeted flywheel and the billeted rod, right? That's going to take care of the other two. The billeted flywheel and rod will take care of the RPM, and you got to run higher springs as well. All right, that's going to get you running higher RPM. The billeted rod is going to get you reduced inertial effects, and if you get the longer rod, you're going to increase compression, and that'd be it. I wouldn't even worry about a camshaft. I'd use a stock camshaft. You're basically modifying the stock carburetor, rejetting it, but you're hitting the trifecta. That's what I'm talking about. If you're going for more of a mid-level build, like what I'm doing with this, then it's more about that carburetor camshaft combination. So if you put the dirt bike carburetor like I'm gonna do, and you put like a Mod 2 camshaft on there, or a BP2 camshaft, or one of those types of camshafts, again, you're getting a lot more air and fuel in the engine, so you're hitting the second trifecta. And then again, combined with the longer rod or with the tighter head, you're still getting it, but you see what I'm saying? You're just doing more of the same thing. All right. The third level build would be the high level would be going crazy, like high lift rockers, and you maybe have a longer rod and a high compression piston, and and you got one of these big 308 type camshafts, really super high lift camshafts, and cause you to really have to redesign the whole valve geometry and all that. And so I think that often goes beyond what we're doing. And also too, we're not building race engines. We're taking utility engines and modifying to a point to where they're far more useful for us as mud motor machines. That's really what it comes down to. And folks, that is the trifecta. Check out the PDF in the description below. That's the trifecta of building horsepower. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like what we're doing here at Black Warrior Lures, you can be a part of it. You can contribute, you can donate, and you can get a perk, a reward. That's right. You give, and then you get a reward for it. We have, if you want to know what those reward perks are, how the rewards packages work, look down in the description below, or go to the website, shop over at the website and check it out. See you later.